So if you want to take your body down to 10% body fat or 12% body fat, you probably already know that there is no quick fix, and really dialing in your nutrition is going to be key. Diet is what creates that calorie deficit that then enables you to get rid of the body fat and eventually hit that low body fat percentage. And what I want to do in this video is I want to share with you 3 simple rules I use to make sustaining that calorie deficit easier, because this is the hard part. It's not just defining the numbers, but actually the strategies you use to stay consistent with your numbers and then ultimately reach your goal. And this video is actually part 3 of this series of different rules that I use to get down to 10% body fat. I'm going to link the part 2 and 1 in the description below for you to check out if you haven't seen them already. So without any further ado, let's dive into it. So the first rule that I have that makes it easier for me to stay in a calorie deficit and make very little mistakes with my diet is I always make sure that I track my meals before I eat them. And this may sound very simple, but you would not believe how many people log their meals after they've ate them just to find that their macros and their calories are now all over the place. They spent too many calories, or they went overboard with their fats or their carbs or their very little protein, and now they're balancing for the rest of the day, spending an enormous amount of energy, micromanaging, having to adjust a lot of things, and ultimately making it a lot harder for themselves to really stay on point. If you simply track it before you ate it, you can make adjustments and make sure you align with the numbers, you know the numbers, and you simply follow the plan. Just makes everything a lot easier. This one simple rule saves you from a lot of decision fatigue and just makes it a really good structure that you can just trust that it works, you keep repeating it, and just ends up being a really nice habit. It makes it a lot easier for you to get into that consistent rhythm where you're tracking the meals, you know your staple meals, and you're just moving from there. It just makes the whole process of getting down to 10% body fat a lot easier, and you know that your numbers are accurate. Now, the second rule that I have that helps me maintain that calorie deficit to 10% body fat is related to the meals that are not in my control, meals that I don't know the ingredients of. And before we dive into this one, do make sure to smash that like button below. It means a lot to me as well. See your support and helps on with the algorithm, so please go ahead and do that. And speaking of those meals where you don't really know what's inside of the meal, I always want to make sure that I overestimate. So here's my process for this. So I know we got 3 macronutrients, of course. We got carbs, we got protein, we got fats. With carbs and protein, they're visible, right? You can see the difference between 4 ounces of chicken and 8 ounces of chicken. You can see a difference between 1 cup of rice or 2 cups of rice, but you won't be able to tell a difference between using 1 tablespoon of olive oil or 3 tablespoons of olive oil or even more. So when I eat a meal that I haven't prepared myself, I always want to make sure that I include an extra 2-3 tablespoons of olive oil as just a guess. What could be inside? So if I'm wrong, sure, I'm wrong, I create a little bit more of a calorie deficit, it's fine. If I'm right, I've saved myself from a massive amount of extra intake that would have added up throughout the week. So I do want to make sure that I always overestimate, and with the fats, you really can't tell. So olive oil or pick any oil, whatever it is, we're just really making sure that we give enough of a buffer for those fats, and then you can of course adjust the rest of the day or the week to make sure you compensate for that if that puts you over your intake, whatever your budget is. And this really ensures that you're on top of your numbers. This really ensures that you can still go through this entire process without having to expect that life is going to adapt to you. You don't want to go ahead and just tell people, okay, what was inside of this thing? Don't make it like this, make it like that, and put a lot of pressure on people around you and now question their cooking and all this stuff. It's much easier just for you on your side to adapt and just go with the flow, enjoy the meals, and of course have your own structure in place. And this is where, at the end of the day, what you do on this journey can also be undetectable and so from the average person. They don't really know what exactly you're doing because you're using the smart approach. You're adapting yourself instead of expecting the world to adapt to you. And now the third rule that I personally use that helps me improve nutrition accuracy as well as maintain a calorie deficit to 10% body fat is that I always want to make sure to double check the calories and macros of the foods that I eat very frequently. And the reason for this is because databases in apps like MyFitnessPal are full of inaccuracies because they allow other users to add entries inside of the database. And if you're new to tracking calories and macros and you're not really sure, you haven't developed the knowledge yet, you don't have enough reference experiences, databases, you might stumble upon one of those wrong entries. Actually, there's a pretty strong chance that you will stumble upon something that's off. And I've seen strawberries that have 50 grams of protein per cup, which is completely off. I've seen rice with 40 grams of protein per 100 grams. And those are very common issues. So when you log certain foods that you know they're repetitive foods, they're my staple foods, I'm going to use them more frequently, double check those foods with databases and websites such as Nutrition Data Self, or websites that have government data that's on calories and macros, just to be sure. And always keep an eye out for this, because those inaccuracies are very common. So if something looks too good to be true, double check and see if it's actually correct. Because again, users, humans, we make mistakes, and there's nothing worse than thinking you're hitting the numbers, thinking you're in a calorie deficit, thinking you're getting your protein right, thinking everything is fine, and then being in a plateau for many weeks, even months, because you've just missed a couple of entries. This is really very frustrating. So you want to make sure you double check this, be on top of this. Also check out part 1 and part 2 of this series in the description below. You will really love those videos. Do make sure to subscribe below, as well as to hit that bell icon for notifications. Details for coaching are in the description below. Check those out as well, and I will see you in those next videos.